The reality of the money in politics thing, the thing that you need to understand, is that it is now the reason why people don't vote. Money drives people out of the process. And this is such an important element of what we're talking about here. And the last thing that I'll really spend much time, then we'll do questions and your good statements and everything like that. But this is something you need to understand. It's why you got to fight this thing with everything you've got. Because we're talking about the problems of political parties. Those are real. We can talk about the problems of individual candidates. Those are real. But the systemic problem that ends up driving people away from the process is the money in politics. This is not about legalized bribery, as Russ Feingold refers to it correctly. It is that. There is pay to play. All that is real. But the deeper, more fundamental thing is that this money in politics, $12 billion, better part of $12 billion spent in the last presidential election, better part of 5, 6, maybe $7 billion just spent in these midterm elections. Overwhelmingly, that goes to buy negative ads. Those negative ads tell people not to vote. And they are more powerful than your knocking on a door. They are more powerful than your grassroots activism. Doesn't mean you shouldn't do the grassroots activism. It matters, and it does get people there. But do you understand that you go to that door, you knock on that door, you talk to that person sincerely, and then they go back into their house, they turn on their radio, they turn on their television, and they are told hour after hour, day after day, that the people running for public office are evil, that they are in fact the devil incarnate. We had a race for Attorney General in Wisconsin, and on the night before the election, I made the mistake of turning on the news. There wasn't any news about politics, don't worry. But they had the ads piled up right before. I'm not making this up. There was one ad from a group saying that Susan Happ was soft on child molesters. And then there was another ad right after it saying Brad Schimmel was soft on child molesters. And I thought to myself, if you're the alien that landed from another planet, what you would say is, I don't think this is a very appealing choice. And the fact of the matter is, not everybody's a political junkie that comes out to Burke's Irish Castle on Friday night. There are a lot of people who get a lot of their information from those ads. And I want to put something in your head about how those ads work. No one in the commercial sector ever does what happens in the political sector with those ads. No one in the commercial sector would ever do that. And we always say, well, we want government to run like a business. No business would ever do what we do as regards politics in this country. Because we flood tens of millions of dollars, hundreds of millions of dollars, billions of dollars into political campaigns. They buy ads on television, and those ads are overwhelmingly negative. In the race for the U.S. Senate in 2012 in Wisconsin, Tammy Baldwin versus that former governor, Tommy Thompson, over 90% of the ads were negative. In the final weeks, there were no positive ads running. All you got was negatives. Now, understand this. If this was the commercial sector, on Monday morning, Coca-Cola would put an ad on, and they would say, we regret to inform you, but there are reports of vermin and, I don't know, I was going to say rats. I think that's pretty rough. Let's just say, creatures being found in the Pepsi vats. Right? And everybody's like, whoa, oh my gosh. And you know what they do? They'd have that little asterisk on it, just like they have on the ad down at the bottom. They tell you their source, right? And then, by that afternoon, Pepsi'd be up with an ad saying, we regret to have to tell you, in response to that vicious attack ad from Coca-Cola, that the truth is Coca-Cola is saying that because they have been found to have disease in their vats. They've got horrible diseases in their vats. Why, the next morning, Coke would be back saying, I'm sorry, all the gloves are off. Over at Pepsi, they're peeing in the vats. By that afternoon, what?
Ebola.
Yeah, Ebola next. By that afternoon, Roger Bybee suggests the Ebola ads would come up. I don't think they'd be up till Wednesday. But I swear by that afternoon, they would be saying, they'd be putting up the health reports. Pepsi, it rots your teeth out. It makes you fat. It's going to kill you. Coke, it rots your teeth double fast. It makes you super fat. It's going to kill you sooner. By the end of that week, not a single person would drink Pepsi or Coca-Cola. They would swear off it all. We'd all have better teeth. We wouldn't be as fat. We'd live a lot longer. And we wouldn't be drinking soda anymore. But here's the problem. That's what we do to our politics. We jam this money in. We flood it in. We give the most irresponsible people imaginable complete carte blanche to spend as much money as they want. They spend that money and they drive our turnout down. Do not miss this connection. We did the Citizens United ruling in 2010. We did the McCutcheon ruling just this year. In between, we did the Knox ruling that knocked down a lot of the rights of labor unions to be heard in the public sphere. Ruling after ruling from our Supreme Court. An activist Supreme Court knocking down the barriers to corporate money in politics, knocking down the controls on spending in our politics, decision after decision after decision, coming year after year after year in our lifetime, right now, happening as we speak. And what did we get in 2014? The lowest turnout election since 1942. The lowest turnout election since 1942 nationally. And you know, in 1942, they had a little thing called World War II interrupting the process. Do you understand what we have done in just 4 years in America? We have begun a process of driving our turnout downward, driving people away from the process. In California, record low turnout. In Texas, record low turnout. In New York, the lowest turnout since they started keeping records. Illinois looking at record low turnout. Vermont looking at record low turnout, so low that all the races were screwed up. They had results they didn't expect because so few people came to the polls. State after state after state turnout going down. Wisconsin, we were the pinnacle of the nation. We may well have the best turnout in the country. But you understand why that is. We are a state that has been torn apart, that has been ripped apart, that has had the most intense politics of anywhere in the nation. And yet, we couldn't even get above 55, 56% of the vote. You meet two people on the street in Wisconsin, best in the country, one of them didn't vote. We have created a fully dysfunctional process, and it's going to get worse. And so, we have to pivot off the petty electoral politics of the moment. Doesn't mean you don't do electoral politics, doesn't mean you don't worry about candidates and parties, but we have to make it our first priority to address the disease that is corrupting the whole of our democracy and that will result in such low turnout elections that the only people voting are the rich folks. Right? The people for whom it is a transaction. I go to vote because I need to get something back.